After losing the first Test match to England, there was one question lingering in the minds of 1 billion cricket fans. Will India succumb to Root's men yet again, or will they manage to put up a fight? It was a welcome sign moving from this to this. People came in large numbers to back their favourite team. Will India manage to keep the competition alive? Will India manage to keep the Test Championship alive? Only time will tell.
Welcome to Uncommentary, where we share our common and uncommon opinions at the end of day's play. With me, as usual, is my friend Narayanan. Hi, Narayanan.
Hi.
Hey. And today we have some special guests. We have two of them, in fact. My first guest for tonight is he's my best buddy in Australia. He is an avid Indian cricket fan and a better cricketer. With a tally of 89 wickets and counting, he's a medium pace bowler and the secretary of Royal Park Brunswick Cricket Club here in Melbourne. We call him Razor, Rub, Saurabh. Hey, Saurabh, how's it going?
Hey, Dev. Thanks for having me, mate.
No worries, mate. And second guest for tonight. He is an all-rounder with about 177 wickets and 6 for 42 is best figures till now, and a 50 as the highest score. He is also a physiotherapist, and we approach him for all our niggles and injuries. Ladies and gentlemen, he is also one of my very dear friends here in Melbourne. Please welcome Nakul. Hey, Nakul.
Thanks, Devon. Thanks for having me.
No worries. Okay, first thing first, question, Saurabh. India start the day, Shubman Gill on bat, on strike, Stone bowling to him, wrapped on the pads, not offering a shot. Bowler's delight?
More than a bowler's delight. It was, well, I'd say bowler's delight, but it was Gill's stupidity, honestly. I mean, it's the first over that you're facing. The pitch is already flaky. I mean, that's what the pitch report said, that it's just going to deteriorate as the day goes on. It was very flaky. It was basically joined together by cracks. You have to assume that if the ball hits the seam, it's going to do something. And you just can't not offer a shot, especially when the ball is hard. And like the SG Test ball, it doesn't swing around a lot, but it definitely seams. It's always got a protruding seam. So, I mean, that was just not done, mate.
Right, okay. And we've been discussing about the quality of the ball and the SG balls in our last match discussions, Narayanan would remember, and also on a lot of WhatsApp message groups across the country, I'm sure. Narayanan, what do you make of the Hitman making a comeback?
I guess he heard my criticism from the last Test match, and perhaps that is what triggered this performance. But undoubtedly, it was a very good performance, scoring more than 50% of India's day score of 300 for 6, and at a rate which India is generally not known for. To reach 300 for 6 at the end of 88 overs, we definitely played what the Australians are: play hard, play fast, and let's see how soon can we wrap up the match. So it was a good toss to win. It was a good pitch to bat on. I still say it's a good pitch to bat on. You could see the odd puff of the pitch cracking up and the ball spinning the way. But I think apart from that, if you look at, except Pujara's wicket, I think there were some stupid shots offered, but you can't blame the pitch for that. Overall, I think it's still a pretty good wicket to bat on.
Right, okay. Now, I would like to invite Nakul's opinions here. While he was running out of the opening partners in the top order, Rohit Sharma seemed to be playing on an altogether different pitch, didn't he?
Yeah, it was an absolute masterclass from Rohit today. Like 161 runs out of 300. He's set the tone for India today. And when he bats, obviously India gets very quick runs. And he set up the Test match very nicely for India now. Some magnificent batting, great stroke play. So yeah, it was wonderful. He obviously lost a few of his teammates in the middle, but found a great ally in Rahane. It was a welcome comeback to form for Rahane, because he's sort of been struggling off late, and I guess the whole team would have been relieved that the vice captain has delivered, and he himself must have probably felt relieved that he's delivered. And we all know Rahane is so talented, but sometimes just does not make justice to his talent, and I guess he's justified why he's there today with a solid knock of 67.
Absolutely spot on. Now, Nakul,
Nakul, did the Indian physio reach out to you when they were in Australia, and they could see every day a player getting injured? Like, I need more assistance. Are there any freelancing physiotherapists around, and maybe you may have got a call?
No, he didn't, but like I would have grabbed such an opportunity with both hands. Yeah.
Absolutely. Who wouldn't? Who wouldn't? Now, considering the fact that we have 3 Melbourneians here, it was due for him. He hasn't had a great run after that Melbourne innings until today. And joining in Rohit Sharma. I have Rohit Sharma, who does not score centuries. He just piles up runs. He very rarely has, like 100 or 105. It's usually, 150, 170. And he was due for like a double 100. He almost got there. And you could sense, when he was out, he was not very happy. He was playing those sweep shots really well, but fell to one of them. And it was a smart move by Joe Root, I would say. Now, as a captain who's been a captain, Nakul, I would like to have your opinion. Some of the field settings that you felt that Joe Root had, were they hits and misses? Your thoughts on it?
I think England fielded pretty all right today. Obviously, that one partnership that eluded England for a long time, like Rahane and Rohit played pretty smartly today, because the ball was turning, and definitely turning much more than what we saw in the first Test match. So there were a few challenges posed by that turning ball, and towards the end of the play, we saw how well the ball was turning, and even Virat got an absolute beauty from Moeen. And like he would have been kicking himself that he did not get many runs, because it was crucial. First innings score is very crucial. So I guess that was pretty. But I guess coming back to the field settings, Joe tried his level best. He obviously had a couple of closing fielders. He had the bat pad. He had the slip in. He had the leg slip as well for a while. So he tried almost everything he could have as a usual captain. But I guess it was just Rohit's innings today. And when he plays, it's very hard for an opposition captain to do anything. So it's just one of those days for England. And I guess it was a great toss to win. And obviously now the match is set up for India. Hopefully they can carry on from here.
100%. And there was one gentleman who keeps on coming repeatedly in our discussions every time, at least from his innings in Sydney. You just lost Rohit Sharma and Rahane. And then one short ball, there goes the ball outside, traveling really fast to the boundary. Welcome, Rishabh Pant. Narayanan, what do you make of this kid? Be the match situation that we were in. Do you think his shot selection, what shots he's been playing? We've been talking over and over again in the last match as well, and this match again. What do you make of this?
Well, Rishabh Pant is doing Rishabh Pant things, so it's pretty good that the confidence that he's garnered over the last 2 Test matches in Australia, and the flag that he's been receiving before that, he's finally understood that every ball need not be dispatched to the boundary, and he bites his time. But any loose ball, irrespective whether it's the first ball of the day or the last ball of the match, he's going to go for the shot, and that's what keeps the scoring rate active. He keeps rotating the strike. He's not the one person who's going to get bogged down and eat the ball just to get his eye in. If he doesn't get his eye in, he'll go for the shots. He expects to get his eye in as he plays the shots, and that's his natural game. And the team management giving him the long rope is a good sign in itself. That they believe that that kind of a role will eventually work well, and it's kind of helping him to also understand the game. It's not just like a T20 match or a one-day cricket match. But yes, he's one guy who's just going by his gut instinct, and it's coming up. It's coming out well for India.
Absolutely, and he can take away the game from you, can't he?
Oh,
With his
absolutely.
quick fire, yep.
Absolutely. You saw the way how we belted Leach out in the first test at the same ground, though on a different pitch. And Leach was completely demoralized. He really didn't know what to do. He was having figures of 8 overs, 0 for 90. And he practically, even recently in an interview, said, I thought of giving up cricket because there was no. It's very tough for a bowler to come out of that sort of belter, especially in a test match. In a one day or T20, it's understandable because yeah, it's one odd session, it's one odd day. But in a test match, when you're going to be on the field for the 90 overs in a particular day, maybe over the next 2-3 days, yeah, obviously Rishabh Pant is not opening the batting, but it is slightly demoralizing. And it's good to see Leach came back well in the second innings to help England win the match. And today he bowled brilliantly to dismiss Pujara as well. That was a good delivery.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Saurabh, I have a small question for you. Considering that both the games have generated spin-friendly wickets, how do you see the role of a fast bowler or a bowling all-rounder like Ben Stokes or Hardik Pandya in the next two matches? Or maybe moving forward?
Well, if you take a look at it, it's not that bad for a pace bowler either. Like, of course, wickets in India are generally prepared to be spin friendly. Like, we can deny it all we want. We make wickets that are abrasive to the ball and that let the ball spin in the first 10 overs if it's possible. Like, we make our wickets that way. The thing with that, however, is that no matter what, if you're a seam-up bowler, it doesn't really matter if the wicket is playing in your favor, playing against you. Like, a bowler like Ben Stokes or Hardik Pandya, they don't rely on the natural swing of the ball or all the slight deviations that they're going to get when the ball just leaves the batsman with a late swing or anything. No, these guys are usually hit the deck bowlers that will usually try and keep the seam up and just go with the flow. They'll aim the ball straighter. They'll have a leg gully. They'll have a better leg side feel, hoping that the batsman is just going to nudge one over to a leg slip or a leg gully. So it doesn't really matter with these spin-friendly wickets. However, if you would have noticed today, that is the reason why Ollie Stone got a lot more overs than Stuart Broad did. Because Stuart Broad is one of those bowlers that would rely on the swing of the ball and the movement in the air, which he would not have gotten from the pitch today. But Ollie Stone, dead heat, nice pace, great seam position. He bowled really well. So,
but
yeah, I mean,
if you also look at it, Stokes has just bowled 2 overs in the entire day.
Yeah. But then again, if you see the way the ball was turning, I mean, if Joe Root can turn the ball, why would you get a pace of the ball?
Right, okay. Yeah, and we had some uncommon opinion amongst our WhatsApp group where somebody suggested that if Stuart Broad was only going to bowl 11 overs, maybe he should continue staying in the quarantine rather than play the match.
Yeah, Stuart Broad usually draws the short end of the stick.
Anderson was given, the rest was, I think, because of the pink ball test. Third one.
True, and England are strong believers of the rotation policy, I believe. So, end of day, 300 during the day. And going ahead, looking at tomorrow, we have this as the last recognized batting pair. What do you reckon will be a good score, Nakul?
I think anywhere around 400 would be a good score. If you've got 400 on this pitch, it's already showing signs that it's taking a lot of spin on day one. So I guess if we have 400 runs in the kitty, and if our spinners can get a couple of quick wickets, we've possibly have a very, very good chance of putting England under pressure, and then the game is on. Then it will be up to the likes of Joe Root and Ben Stokes to show if they can stitch a partnership like Rohit and Rahane did today. And but considering the amount of the amount of help the spinners are getting, I would say that, like hopefully our spinners can get England out quicker, and then we could have a good first innings lead and set up the match again.
Absolutely. That's what the Indian team would be thinking and looking forward to, considering the fact that they're already one down and they need to fight back, not just fight back, strongly come back, make a statement. And that brings us to our final section of the day, which is Q&A, where we answer your questions.
So I have a small fan question from one of my friends back in Bombay. His name is Satish. He says, how is Rohit consistently performing well for Mumbai Indians, but just doesn't live up to the expectations when it comes to India and Test? Barring today's innings, obviously.
Yeah, like we all know how much talent Rohit has, but somehow, obviously, he hasn't cemented his place in the Test matches like he has in the ODIs and T20s. Obviously, when he's playing for Mumbai, he's playing in a different format, in T20 format, whereas the Test match is a different format altogether. And Rohit is just like a stroke maker. He's known as the Hitman for obvious reasons, because the amount of boundaries and sixes he scores. So he is someone who loves to have a quick innings, play lots of shots. Whereas in Test matches, you really need a very good temperament, really need a very cool head on your shoulders, and you need to dig in at times, especially outside in the overseas Test matches. You need to dig in, and you are tested to the T. Especially we saw how Australia tested each of our batsmen in Australia. So that's where it's all about temperament, and I guess Rohit has every shot in the book, so he just needs to get a couple of innings like he did today, and he can continue. He's obviously, he won't be as successful as he's been with the franchise cricket and IPL and one days, but he can score quick runs like Sehwag used to for us. So I still feel that Rohit Sharma has a big role to play in Test cricket.
Absolutely, not called Hitman for no reason at all. Hope, Satish, that answers your question.
Dave, I have a small question for you. If that is okay, if you can take. Why do India just lose wickets in clusters? They'll stitch up a good partnership,
now
and you'll find like 2 wickets just go down. Then again, a small mini partnership, again 2 wickets go down.
Well, that is the nature of the game, isn't it? Now you have a partnership, you have a build-up where two people have invested their time, they spend time together, and then one of them goes away. It's like Jay and Viru. Yeah, but then you're right. What happens is when you lose one wicket, the other player might go through a bit of like a momentarily loss of concentration, and they would end up playing a rash shot themselves or play overly defensive, and then they would get out. So yeah, could be a couple of reasons, but most of the time it is loss of concentration. You building up a partnership with someone, and then you have to start it all over again. That takes a toll, because when you're in the center, you are switched on. So that's where it is very important. You do not have to be switched on all the time. Just have to be switched on when you are facing the ball, and when the game is in action. Rest of the time, maybe switch off. Just take a stroll, tap a bit on the pitch, take your mind away from the game for about a fraction of a second, and then come back. That would help you in building up that concentration all over again. Yep. Now, my next question is for Saurabh. This is from my very good friend at my older organization that we used to work at. His name is Vinay. And Vinay has a question for Saurabh. He says, you as a bowler and you as a captain, if you put yourself in the shoes of Virat Kohli tomorrow, or what would be your game strategy? Of course, you have to take wickets, but how would you prefer starting, with pace bowlers or spinners or a combination, and your reasons for them?
Well, honestly, if you notice today's gameplay, when Rohit, well, in the first 50 odd overs, Rohit was going at over 100, at a strike rate of over 100. And as the day progressed, the pitch deteriorated way too quickly that he had to slow down. Like, he was 80 off 76 balls or something like that.
True.
And then when he got out, he was 161 of 209 balls or something like that. So, I mean, if you could see, like, even someone who had spent that long at the crease was having trouble, because, I mean, the ball was moving way too much. I mean, you could see people like Moeen Ali, Leach, even Joe Root moving the ball from both ends. So honestly, if I was to start tomorrow in Virat Kohli's shoes, I would definitely start off with Ishant Sharma at one end, because Ishant Sharma, although he relies on the swing of the ball, he's also more of a hit the deck bowler, so he'll hit the seam a lot more. But the other end will definitely be someone like Ashwin. Ashwin mainly because he's used to getting a decent grip on the newer ball as well. He's proven that in the second innings in the last game. He's actually not bad with the new ball. So I'd basically start with Ashwin. And I think Siraj would feel like Broad tomorrow. He wouldn't get too much of the ball, because with three spinners, especially with someone like Kuldeep can turn a ball in any wicket, any conditions. He's a wrist spinner. He's got that advantage, and he's even got the rough. He's gonna have the dust popping off the crease popping off the deck the whole time. You're also gonna have someone like Akshar Patel, who's a very Joe Rudy or a Jadeja type of bowler, who bowls average pace of Akshar Patel would be in the 90s. Someone who bowls in the 90s will have a lot flatter of a trajectory, so it's very difficult to come down the wicket to them or get under their ball. But if that ball hits the rough, it can still do the same thing that a flighted ball can do. So spinners are going to play a massive role tomorrow. Have as many people as you want around the bat. Have a slip, have a leg slip, have a silly point, have a forward short leg. Heck, even put a bloody silly mid on and a short mid wicket just to be safe. So that's basically how I would start off with them, and I attack from ball one. 300. I mean, the score we are on now, if we were all out for 300, I'd still say we'd bundle them up for under 150 to 200 runs tomorrow.
Again, an uncommon opinion. And as you said, you can't take away the Aussie from us. The bloody Aussie comes in. And that is actually...
Been waiting for long, mate.
Yeah, and that actually is a good segue, what you mentioned about Kuldeep. That's a point that I wanted to discuss with Narayanan. Narayanan, we've been talking over and over again. Finally, Kuldeep is in, and so is Akshar Patel.
Yeah, absolutely. Kuldeep, it all depends on how many overs he gets it from the captain, right? We have 3 spinners and 2 quicks. All depends on how much we have on the board for tomorrow. Either 350 or 400, because that will make a big call by Kohli whether he starts up with the spinner or not. Because if he starts up with the spinner, then you can see Siraj not getting many overs by the end of the day. You could just see a lot of overs being bowled by these 3. With a few, obviously Siraj will be bowling, but not many as per what he would have liked as an opening partner to Ishant. So yeah, Kuldeep, I'm really looking forward to Kuldeep. And the pitch deteriorating is a good sign, but I still hold my ground on the pitch is still a good pitch to bat on.
Right, okay. And that is a good headache to have if you're the Indian captain at the moment. You have 5 good bowlers who can produce wickets any time of the day.
And that's the thing, right, Dave? That's the thing. When India loses wickets and you see the hot puff coming out from the pitch, the blame goes on the pitch, invariably.
Yeah, true.
Just saying.
No, that again is a good.
I'll always say,
opinion.
if Joe Root turns a ball on a pitch, bowl Ashwin the first over.
Ashwin will be doing this. Give me the ball.
Yeah, you can't do that under the COVID.
No, I know, COVID.
he can just. Yeah, true. I got it late. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
considering it's like Ashwin has bowled a lot of, he's grown up on this pitch. It's its own test match for him. So obviously Ashwin will be key tomorrow. But I'm really looking forward to Akshar Patel's performance tomorrow because he's got a good height. So obviously he will get a bit of bounce from that track, and we could, like all the bat pads and your leg gullies and those people will come into play with Akshar Patel's bounce. So really looking forward if Akshar Patel can fill in the big boots of Ravindra Jadeja. It's a massive,
Absolutely.
yes, it's a massive thing for him. But I'm pretty confident there will be plenty of edges and ball flying around with his height.
True. And I'm glad that
Can I just say one thing? Tomorrow's gonna be, when we are bowling, it's gonna be a very difficult day for Rishabh Pant behind the stumps.
True. Yeah.
And he's not been in the best of form behind the stumps, at least. In front of the stumps, he's been great.
Yeah. That's what sets folks apart. Now, if you have a look,
Well, he's not going to
steps,
also keep quiet. He's going to like keep chit-chatting something after what Stokes did today to him. So he's definitely going to be waiting for Stokes to come to the crease.
Yeah, it was a good banter at the end of the day. I think that was a good tactic from Rishabh Pant as well to try and deliberate not getting into the final over, but the umpires did it anyway. You mentioned Ravindra Jadeja and filling up his boots. Akshar Patel, it's not going to be easy for him. That situation that we are in originally is because of an injury. And one of my students at Payade Cricket Club in Mumbai, he has this question for you, Nakul.
Yeah.
So with so many injuries and fitness issues, so what sort of preparation would go into making, especially for bowlers, considering their fitness and the injuries?
Yeah, like it was a very tough tour for the Indian team of Australia with so many injuries. It is difficult to fill in Ravindra Jadeja's boots, but usually, like injuries are part and parcel of the game, and the sort of the tough, gritty last 2 days that we had at Sydney and the Brisbane Test match. Obviously, our boys literally gave everything, their bodies on the line, just to make sure that they come on the right side. So obviously that has resulted in a lot of injuries. As a physio, I would definitely, like recommend them to keep rotating as much because we play a lot of cricket these days. And obviously that's why the players have to have some rest between the test matches or even the tours. So I guess considering how much spin this wicket is taking, it is a fair call to have Bumrah rested and have Siraj in his place. So Bumrah, and I guess England have gone for a similar approach as well. They've, in spite of amazing spell by Anderson last Test match, they've basically opted for Broad. So both Anderson and Bumrah can, be fresh and look forward for the ping ball Test match next time.
Yeah, and Laksh goes on to add on to this question further. Is there any specific training, because Laksh himself is a left arm orthodox spinner like Jadeja. He emulates Jadeja into his cricketing style. Is there any specific fitness training that goes into bowlers when they do their training for the match?
Yeah,
especially considering
it's mainly about the workload management, the amount of training, the amount of training you do, how many balls you usually ball during your training, and how much game time you get, and how many overs usually you're going to bowl in during your game. So the workload management becomes really key over here. So especially if you are coming back from an injury, obviously you should slowly move into your practice or into your game and not overburn yourselves. So especially for a fast bowler, workload management is extremely key. Even if you feel like you want to throw 100 balls down the line, you have to realize that your body can only take as much, especially for a fast bowler. When it comes to spinners, they can obviously, they are able to bowl more overs or have more practice or have more game time as compared to fast bowlers. But for fast bowlers, especially, workload management is key, and that's why we're seeing so many rotations with the squads these days.
Right. Okay. And that's where the captain and the bowling coach, they work together with the bowler to understand what their limits are and what their capacity is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So there you go, Laksh. Hope that answers your question. Now, just before we wrap up, some final words. Narayan, Saurabh, Nakul. Narayan, you first.
We should target 350 and then see where things stand based on the present situation. But yeah,
Okay,
having Rishabh Pant at the crease is a positive, and even Aksar with him. Because Aksar is a tough nut to crack. And the first hour of play is very crucial. It's like a cliche, right, in every day's play of a test match.
Yep.
The first hour of play, the first hour of play, and similarly, the first hour of play tomorrow is as well.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So tough nut and Rishabh Pant. Saurabh, your key takeaway.
Keep them out till lunch. Do not let them bat before lunch. If you want to make them bat before lunch, make them bat 2 overs before lunch.
Oh, Nakul, your final thoughts.
I think this was the perfect sort of a response from the Indian team that we were looking after that defeat that we had in the first test. So a brilliant day's play for India. We just have to consolidate from here, and as Saurabh mentioned, I would love to have them in the field at least till the lunchtime and score as close as possible to 400, because first innings score is going to be key for India, as England's going to bat last on fourth innings, and the pitch is only going to deteriorate from here, and it's going to take a lot of spin. So the score on the board is always the key. So my magic number is somewhere around 400, and that will really set up the test match for India.
Absolutely. And on that note, I will just thank you all our guests, Nakul, Saurabh, and Narayan. Unfortunately, Narayan has dropped out, but thank you all for joining us. And we hope and we look forward to catching up with another episode tomorrow with some other guests. Thanks very much. Bye.